G'day friends and fans, welcome to Dave Talks Stuff. Alright, yesterday I talked to you about the how women are accusing mgtow of making him single. Of course, this is all part of a rising phenomenon, the rise of the unhappy single woman. Unhappy in marriage, unhappy in... look, if they're unhappy single, they're not going to be happy in marriage, right? The myth of marrying the wrong person, right? If you two have more than one or two things in common, no, you do not marry the wrong person, right? You that is coping and seething, right? This is women deflecting blame. Whenever women say, I married the wrong person, they mean, I'm a thunder trucker. I cheated, I lied, I partied, I didn't settle down, I manipulated him, I didn't respect him. They'll say anything other than I married the wrong person. Like most men are not raging bulls who are looking for a fight every day. They want to come home to peace and quiet. It's just that nagging and prodding, men break. And this is why I do not like the American ideal of free speech, because you just don't understand the psychological impact of nagging. Right? If you understood psychological impact of nagging, you would say, the pimp hand rules. I need a pimp hand. I really do. I really need. But for now, all right. What we have here is, of course, the rising phenomenon, when you look up single women, the most abandoned woman, the most disliked woman in the world, used to be the most liked, okay? Chinese women used to be the most popular women in the world, whether they were Taiwanese, Qing, Mandarin, Fushan, West Coast, East Coast, America. It didn't matter where you found your Chinese woman. They were like the gold standard of beauty, poise, pageantry, marriage, family life, right? People could not get enough of a Chinese woman, right? Yet, what happened? They squandered their popularity for communism, right? And worldwide, other than a few, they became known as the toxic feminist, right? They embraced feminism hard. And now they're suffering the consequences faster than Western women. But this is what's coming for you, right?
I am 38 years old with a master's degree. I am a high-quality single woman.
Notice the eyes, she's looking up. I'm a high-quality single woman. Yeah, even she doesn't believe that, right? Look at the hair. She's faded. She is 38, right? That is terrible. Yes, it may contradict many things. There may be men, I'm talking, of course, about men who are more interested in the hump and dump than the marriage, who think that, oh no, 38's young, women live a long time. No, 36, she's more than double the ideal age, right? Women should be easily knowing who they're going to marry by 18, right? No, right? She's worn out, right? Worn out.
I originally thought that in Hangzhou I could find an equally high-quality bachelor, but until I
Yeah, I'm a high-quality bachelor. So do I want a carton of empty eggs So I want the prime big carton with the big juicy eggs. Yes, I have the I want the big juicy eggs, please.
Turned 38 this year, I realized that those high-quality single men didn't even look at me. Now, the ones chasing after me are rural
bachelors who are older than her, and look at her, she's hiding in disgust. Right? The only people who want her are old men. Right? Rural bachelors, landowners with just a little bit of money, and all they want is someone to take over. Right? They have a farm. They probably have they just want to retire. They want someone to take care of them, and they're willing to spend what's left of their money on getting taken care of because they can't go into a nursing home. So in China, it's cheaper to buy a wife than go to a nursing home. But she's disgusted, I tell you. But let's go on. Right.
bachelors. In other words, if I want to get married, I can only marry into the countryside.
完了，真的嫁不出去了。
Oh no, it's over. I really can't get married anymore. I'm already 34 years old. What should I do? My mum is still waiting for grandchildren. Do I really have to resort to buying sperm for artificial insemination? It's so scary. I want a man.
When they say they want a man, they want a high-quality man. They want a 1% of the 1%. Chinese women are no longer passport bros. Shred the passport, okay? Please, passport bros, okay? Stop it. They're not interested in you anymore. They're not interested in men anymore. They are lying to you. Look at the eyes. Oh boy, it's not bad if she had, right? If you grew up with this, you know, she was probably once a beautiful woman. But what'd she do, right? Balls to the face. That's right. Balls to the face. Women, man, you shouldn't play sports. You get too many balls to the face and nobody wants you anymore.
This is my undergraduate degree from Qingdao University of Science and Technology.
Oh. Oh, science and technology. Science and technology. Science and technology. Yeah. Degrees only mean you're a good parrot, right? A good little tape recorder who goes, I'll memorize this test, I'll memorize these statements, I'll memorize the teacher's key phrases, I'll study them, write them down, and repeat them. Then I go do the test, and then when I go to get a job, they ask, so, tell me about your career. What projects interest you? I want a job. I want to meet high quality men. And they go, right. Right. And of course you know what's going to happen every time, right? Every time these women go for a job, what happens? Absolutely. They get laughed at, right? That's the real problem, right? They can't get a job even.
Technology, and this is my master's degree from a private university in Seoul. You don't need to understand Korean. This
You know what a master's degree is useful for? Teaching degree. Teaching. You're a teacher now. Congratulations, right? You mastered repetitive behavior.
Is the official certification of my master's degree stamped with an
Yeah, so you could get a job at the Korean university. You and the 200 other people who wasted half their life savings on a master's degree and the other half on getting there. Like, congratulations, right? You got played. And what's the university's response when you can't find a job? You guessed it. You guessed it.
official seal. If I were to falsify any documents, I'd be in prison. I graduated with my master's degree in 2015. In 2016, I obtained
Can't find a man. What a shock. Right? She wants a house, right? Comfortable car. She couldn't get a job, right?
Nano Banana Pro is now on Artlist. Get Google's most up-to-date model and all the leading AI.
I'm 34 years old with a master's degree, 2 houses and 2 cars. Previously, I earned around 300,000 yuan per year, but now it's around 150.
Yep, economy's boiled over, right? Your DEI hire is over, right? China has it too, right? Every country has it, right? They give these women high-paying jobs, right? Because they thought, they will breed better babies, and instead of breeding better babies, they bought houses and cars and luxury goods, and now they're complaining they can't find a husband, right? They thought they'd be highly desirable. No, see, if I were a man, no, you do not know what a man wants. Please.
There would be many girls interested in me, and I could easily pick someone who's introduced children, even if particularly high. I prefer.
It's getting ridiculous, right? There's women, right? Women after women, 1.8 meters tall, fair-skinned, big eyes, right? So you want a Westerner, right? Let's just say it, right? Say it out loud. You want to marry a Westerner, right? You did not want to marry a Chinese man, right? They cannot be honest, right? They cannot be honest. Well, in a way, she is, right? 6 foot, 6 inch, and a 6-figure salary, right? You're not going to find that in China, right? You earn $300,000 in China? You're going to be kidding. 300,000 yuan? That's fuck all, right? And China, remember, in the cities, it's Western cost of living now. It's not like 20 years ago where the cost of living was half, right? Cost of living is out of control in China, right? That's all because they gave all these jobs to all these women, right? They blew their economy just like America did, right? They're all blowing out their economies, right? Every mistake America's made, look at her, look up. You think she's under 40? Beijing.
Girl. At 38.
38. You mean 48, right? She's 38. Yeah, 48, right? 48, come on. But again,
She still has a sweet appearance with a car and a house.
yeah, the sweet appearance, she's rich. Oh, yeah, yes, madam, you're gorgeous. Yeah, come on, right? Come on, be realistic, right? Yeah, again, well, here's another problem, maturity, right? You're not allowed to play video games because that's immature. But women, no, the women and their obsession with Hello Kitty, right? And look at it. Oh, my God. Well, actually, she had a husband, right? Look at them. Look at them. Look at how delusional women have become, right?
Emotional, damn it.
Right? Come on. Look at it, right? Oh, when somebody could ride away to us, tread on colourful clouds. Oh, we've got to advance a little too far, right? We've got to be careful, right? Because, YouTube, screw YouTube, like they'll like, can't play it all, right?
Market remains strong.
希望有一个人骑着白马。
I really hope that someone will ride a white horse, tread on colorful clouds, and come to me saying, I finally come to pick you up. You're my wife for life.
我对物质可能看得不是那么重。
I might not place too much emphasis on material things. My bottom line is that she should be able to afford a down payment in Beijing. That's my bottom line. If I were to pursue a girl of the same age, to be honest, I might feel a bit shortchanged because, in my opinion, a girl's most precious asset is her youth.
How
Rich guy, right? He does not want second best, right? He has got money. He knows, right? And this is why men, right? You got to be honest with yourself, right? What is the driving motivation behind most men these days to accumulate more, right? Right? You listen. They're telling you, every musician, every rap artist, every poet, almost every book of romance, it's, I'm giving you flowers, chocolates. Oh, and I have a mansion, and I have this wonderful sports car, and I'm the top 40 under 40. You know, like, there is so few men who meet these women's standard. These are over 100 million single women in China, right, are whining on TikTok every year that they can't find a man. And most people out there, and it's driven by feminism, right?
Hence is today's dating scene in China. Take this 37-year-old female
Oof. Now, usually, right, with women, low-value women, it's the skin, right? Something women can't hide, right? If they, the more you wear out your body, skin, it's the first organ to go, right? The first collapse, right? The graying of the skin, right? She's pretty reasonable, so I'm going to say it's not that she's been run through, right? It's that she tries to date above her appearance.
master's graduate Huang Yan, for example. She was once a top student and campus beauty. Growing up as an only child,
Campus beauty, right? You can see, right, before, probably in her 20s, lower hairline, obviously, beauty standards different, but yeah, she's had she's starting to show signs of age, receding jawline, puffing of the cheeks. She's losing her looks fast, okay? She's campus beauty, aka she was popular in the bedroom, right? Probably she swung multiple vines, right? You can see, right, the graying, right, the lumpy skin.
in a well-off family, Huang Yan received meticulous care from her mother throughout her schooling.
See, only child raised by a mother, right? And he, well, is he really there? Is he clocked in? Who wears the pants in this house, right?
Her father insisted she keep her distance from boys and focus on her studies. Over time, this led Huang Yan to have little interest in dating, and she
A lot of parents do this, right? Stay away from boys. They only want one thing. Yeah, and what's wrong with that? I like my video games. You like your video games. Boys we want to enjoy life too. Why can't we enjoy life? Right? I am sick and tired of the society demand that we raise and take care of a house cat. Right? Right? Especially one that didn't get, right? Especially one that didn't get properly raised in the first place by those who should have raised it to be an adult.
never cared much about others' opinions on the matter. Graduating with excellent grades from medical school, Huang Yan smoothly transitioned into becoming a doctor at a top Beijing hospital. At the start of her career, she was young, beautiful, and had excellent qualifications.
Yes, that is an excellent qualification. She could part her legs all the way. That is an excellent qualification. I agree. That is an excellent qualification. But as with everything, we're now getting to the
emotional damage.
Right.
Leading her to have high standards for her partner. After several
I
unsuccessful
knew it. High standards. Gosh.
I can turn your wildest ideas into a song. Just describe it in a few words, choose a style, and let Mareka the Fifth 8 handle the rest. With one click,
Sorry about this, but ad blocking ain't working today at all.
unsuccessful blind dates, she finds herself at 37, feeling the pressure from her parents and worrying about not being able to find a spouse.
Yeah, well, you know what a parent should have done, don't you? Well, you know what you say to her in the high standards? Yeah. Now it's not playing.
With a Hell graduate who is 4 years younger. They decided to meet at a tennis court since both of them enjoyed sports. The man wore black-framed glasses, had a square face, and a robust physique. After an exhilarating game of tennis, they both felt invigorated. He went by the name Lao Han. Huang Yan felt a slight attraction towards Lao Han. They then went to a hot pot restaurant for dinner. Initially, they got along quite well, but during their conversation, Lao Han lost interest in Huang Yan.
那个韩燕老师跟我简单介绍了一下你。
Lao Han.
They said you'd never been in a relationship before.
Huang Yan. That's right, I've never been in one.
Do you mind that I've been divorced?
Huang Yan didn't directly answer and pondered for a moment. I think the person matters more. Lao Han persisted
I don't know how girls view this matter.
the conversation with just a few words. After Huang Yan changed the subject, feeling that the topic was too sensitive for a first meeting, Huang Yan ended the conversation with just a few words.
Emotional damage.
He wanted her honest opinion and she couldn't give it. She couldn't answer straight away. She formulated an answer to meet social expectations, right? So that dishonesty killed his mood and she knew it, right? She knew she fucked up. She knew that she put her foot in the mouth. She knew that she wasn't able to manipulate him, right? He knew that she had probably, like, if she, like, men know, right? Women, you never believe them when they say I'm 38 years old and a virgin, right? Even, like, men don't even care or ask anymore, right? They know they're getting damaged goods, right? But she wanted to pretend that she just should have said, I've been on a few dates, but it hasn't led anywhere. That's it, right? Be honest, right? This is not your first rodeo, girl, and everybody knows it, right? They're looking at your face and they can see dishonesty, right? Can you see it? Can you see that she's not looking him in the eye? She's withholding, right? She's not open. I mean, body language may not mean much to people, but yes, in a society of customs and rules, you have to realize, right, that if you're looking, which I probably think, obviously most men are not. This is not pickup artist advice or anything. All I'm saying is when you're dealing with people in business, right, you're looking for honesty, right? This is a business transaction in China. So I'm giving you a little advice that learn some of the techniques of body language so you can go through life picking the dishonest people up quickly and moving on from them. All right? And she is...
After Huang wasn't being understanding him, his suitable in other aspects of the home, Han with her best friend, it was evident that Huang Yan still had some interest in Lao Han.
Okay, let's move on. Her best friend, right? That's the last thing, right? That's the last thing we want. So, yeah, that's that. Best women and their best friends, man. Like, your best friend, right? If women put too much value in the advice of other women, right? When it comes to... and then, of course, they wonder why they get torn down, because they actually... This is the problem with women and their socializing, right? Most of the successful women in the world never get advice from other women, right? They're the ones giving advice, sure, but they're the ones taking it.
I was born in 1983, so I'm 40 years old this year. I'm single with no children.
Okay, first off, she wasn't that bad looking, right? But, you know, we're getting someone who probably is very meticulous, right? Spent most of her life grooming and socializing. Let's see.
And I think I might end up being single for the rest of my life. Recently, many people have been introducing potential partners to me, but I've declined all of them. I'm not very interested in meeting new people, as getting to know someone from scratch feels exhausting.
Yeah, that's why most men don't want to date anymore. You meet someone, you get to know them, and then they screw you for a free meal. So you're not interested. Your body, your brain, your brain is wired to conserve energy, right? And right now, right, she is putting in low effort to draw, and that's. Shut up! You've got no right, lady. Right, no right to complain, right? Yeah, you're all about the money, right, and the gifts. So, straight off the bat, this one, let's see. What do you think? Emotional damage? Look at her.
Emotional damage.
I agree. Let's see.
Do you expect a dowry for your marriage? Of course. Can you...
Straight off the bat, are you a whore? Yes!
Give us an estimate of how much. I think with my qualifications, it has to be at least 5 million yuan. Could you tell us about your situation? I prefer a man who...
Oh! I need a hot key. Right, 5 million. 3, 4, 5, 6. Right. 8, 5. Yeah, too far. 2. Right, let's get a quick conversion here. Thinking. Da. What? 5. Oh, 5. What? $700,000 for what? A year of marriage and a divorce? Probably sex 12 times? I think I could get... I think I could get poo-tang for the rest of my life, every day for the rest of my life for less than that. So, no, lady, your dowry... As for your dowry...
Right turn, Clyde.
So she wants someone with a 6-inch, 6 feet, 6 figures, and she wants a gift of nearly $750,000. That's a whore. That is a definite whore. You should marry an alien instead.
You should marry an alien instead. In recent years, the number of single women in China has surged. According to statistics, there are currently about 116 million single women in China, forming a unique social trend. Among them, the increasing number of unmarried female white-collar workers are referred to as high-quality single women.
High quality what? Every time you hear, I know it's like, every time you hear the word high quality, you just want to yell. Shut up! That's like, really, all that money, and where's it go? You know, junk. You know, you're working, they're eating out, they're spending a fortune on makeup. It's going nowhere, right? And they're staying single. So worse, they're dragging the economy down, they're dragging the society down. Again, the only reason why I'm showing you this is because this is what's coming to America, right? Once upon a time, Western man, right, who wanted a wife could find an alternative, right? You lost the Latinos 20 years ago. You lost the, you lost the black women first. You lost the Latinos. Like Thailand, Thailand is off limits now. You go to Thailand, you're just asking to be ripped off, right? You're going to China. China used to be number one. No, you are. Look, this is what's waiting for you if you want to be a passport bro. Right? Do not be a passport bro, right? You know, any idiot who wants to be a passport bro, right now, set him in front of this video, get those likes, get those clicks, right? Get this video out there, because I'm telling you, right, until women are shamed into giving up, right, and they're not, right? They are 100, right? This is, right, 100 million whores. I said it, right? This is ridiculous.
According to the prevailing Chinese saying, they are left alone because they are outstanding.
Yeah, you mean outstanding narcissists, right? they're left alone because they're outstanding.
Quality single women often have a relatively high social status, are economically independent, and pursue freedom in life.
Emotional, damn it!
What you're looking at is coop and seethe, right? Spending a fortune, right? Making companies rich, making the rich man rich. This is exactly it. This is feminism, right? They substitute, it's called emotional substitution, right? They cannot have a fulfilling life because they are brainwashed, right? They are constantly harassed by other women, right? This whole social status thing, right?
But this group also faces significant negative societal judgments.
No, it's called noticing, right? And what's the thing that men notice?
When they brought you in here and booked you, you was crying like a pussy. Yeah.
Yeah, right? That's it, right? They're crying like a pussy, right? They are...
Emotional, damn it!
Right? Because...
You ain't first, you're last.
Right? These women, right? 18 to 35, they were the whores in the nightclubs, right? Getting a degree, working in the nightclubs, getting their groove on, you know, getting their pursed lips, you know, getting their social status up, you know, legs. And what? For what? What? You know, why would a man want to marry that, right? You know, if she parties, she's you know, half out the door already, you know?
Today, female white-collar workers in the workplace have more freedom and choices, but
more freedom, more choices. No, you don't. You have freedom or you don't, right? And of course, they don't, right? Freedom and choices. You mean coping and seething, right?
they still face considerable pressure.
You're never home for me. You're never there for me. I have a job to do. I just want to relax. Look how much you spend. You know, all this garbage. It means nothing.
And distress regarding marriage.
You never care for me. All you want is money.
They are often pressured by parents, relatives, and friends to get married, to stop pursuing their careers, lower their standards, and
lower their standards. In other words, stop expecting all men to be 1.8 meters or taller, right? That's bullshit, right? Especially in China, 5'8", if you're lucky, right? So Xi Jinping is 5'8" with lifts, okay? That's why he stands on stairs and has cameras far away and is always surrounding himself with men smaller than him, right? It's like skinny chicks who date who surround themselves with fat women so that their C cups and their flat and their misshapen oval face stands out because you go, geez, at least she's not fat.
Emotional, damn it.
But come on, right? Penis size, right? There's the women and their penis obsession, their financial obsessions. The majority earn, the average wage is low and they want people with six figures. Most average wage is not even, it's barely 5 figures, right? And if everybody was earning 6 figures, right, imagine the cost of living. No. And again, we're overproducing, right? We've got to reduce the workforce by 10%, not increase productivity. We're overproducing by 31%. We need to reduce the workforce, right? Well, right? We have massive consumer goods, right, dumped on the market every year, right? And companies are barely making a profit, so they're barely paying taxes. Yeah, I know. Sorry for the rich man. Yeah, you're laughing at the rich man have rich man problems. I know, but still, I'm just talking about feminism as a whole is greedy, right? It's greedy beyond belief.
Stop being so picky about potential spouses.
Yeah, no shit. All right. Let's see what House and Garden has to say. Yeah, shit. Woof.
Being single rather than settle for less keeps them persistently single. In the long wait, youth fades away irreversibly. But what causes anxiety among older women is that, compared to men, women's fertility is naturally limited by age.
Emotional, damn it.
Women, by their having high standards, give themselves emotional damage. Okay? They are never, ever going to be satisfied. If a woman cannot be satisfied with who you are, you think in bed you're going to satisfy her? Right? You think, right, all these women and their cope, right? Right? Instead of realizing, right, that there's probably well over 200 million men in the world who'd marry these women. No worries. Okay? MGTOW is a quarter of the world's population, right? So that means you still got a quarter of the world's population who are willing to be used and abused by women, right? But half of those are probably married, right? Probably half of those are facing divorce. So, you think, right? These women have a chance, but no, right? Because they come to you with emotional baggage and high expectations. And they think, no, I'm a high-value woman. No, you're not, right? You're not. You have a token job, right? You have this house that you spent a fortune on, which is not worth half the price, right? You can't even get a quarter of the price for a house in China anymore, right? There are more houses than house buyers, right? And of course, again, it's all because overproducing to satisfy the demands of women. Society is being dragged down.
Pregnant women over 35 are considered to.
But women have been sold a false bill of goods that they can work, have children, put your child into care, you'll have a nanny, you earn lots of money, have a nanny, right? Well, if all the women are working, where are these nannies coming from? Where are all these goods and services coming from? Who's gonna, and even if you're hiring nannies, right? Like all this this is the garbage that Zamdami and that, right? Zamdami and all these bullshit artists in Baltimore, Chicago, LA, Seattle, Portland. These are all the promises, right? Have a career, have a husband, have a child, right? All right. Married at 35, child by 45, a child, right? Retired by 55, this bullshit, right? You have the high quality husband who will always take care of you and take care of your every need, right? There's no satisfying sexual relationship with them. They're always constantly, coddling their child. They're trying to find, they're trying to live vicariously through their child. All you're doing these days, with these women, is buying
emotional damage.
Right? They have no care for you whatsoever. There is no value in these women whatsoever. They think they're high value because they got degrees, they have higher income, but they are not willing to share it with you. You have to have more, right? You have to take care of them. And when they retire, they get to leave you, take half your stuff and go back to their house, right? That you maintained, right? So that they can give it to their child, all because they say, oh, but it's taking care of the child and taking care
has
of me.
A fivefold increase in the probability of congenital deformities in.
Yeah. 35. Double the deformities, right? You look around the world. You look at Pakistan. It's not just inbreeding. It's India, right? Congenital deformities. You look all throughout the world now. Congenital deformities, Down syndrome. It's not just Down syndrome, but also you got fetal alcohol syndrome. You got never marry a woman who drinks. Never marry a woman who smokes. Never marry a woman, period. But if you must, right, you got to have standards, man, right? Because you're the prize. You're not you are the prize, right? Look at the standards they have, right? They're trying to weed out right? But the working class man is the backbone of the economy. Yet they're the consumers. They're the destroyers of economy, right? With their greed, their narcissism. They think, oh, I just take time off work to have a child and the government will hold my job for me. Right, and of course, women are increasingly with heart attacks because they're overworking, they're not taking care of themselves. But again, right, there is a need for female doctors, female physicians, female nurses, there's teachers, but there's too many, right? There's too many teachers, not enough doctors, and not enough, there's too many scientists, there's not enough products, right? We don't need more products, right? We've got products, right? Yes, you can make good products cheaper and cleaner, right? But we don't need 100 million scientists, right? We don't need, right? We need 100 million women, right, to go sleep with men. That's it. Their only value to society right now is as a sex toy, right? This is why they're complaining, because they know their only value to society is as a sex toy, right? You got to face reality, right? Men who are looking for women only want women for sex. There's no, right? Men are not looking for a business partner. Men are not looking for someone to compete with them. Most men are not looking for someone to play tennis with on the weekend, right? If I want to play tennis against someone on the weekend, it's not going to be a woman, right? And by the way, I ain't playing tennis on the weekend. I'm playing right now I'm playing Shadowrun on the weekend, right? And do I want a woman for that? Hell no! Unless she's in the audience giving me $5 $5 a month. No worries, right? What about you? You want loyalty? Buy a dog, right? You want warmth when you go to bed at night? Buy a fucking electric blanket. You want to get your rocks off? Most of the time, you're gonna get your rocks off less than once a month with a woman, right? So, again, a robot or a sex toy is much cheaper, right? So there is nothing women contribute anymore. And remember, okay, so right now they have the advantage, going to sperm banks, get a child out of you, whatever. But I'm telling you, within 20 years, robotics, women are going to be replaced. There's no two ways about it, right? Productivity's too low. The life expectancy's shortening, so they don't have that advantage anymore, right? They're a drain on society. They're trying to compete for power against men. No, there's going to be no, right? Once men have enough power, there is going to be no investment in women, right? It's going to be robots, right? Korea, Japan, they are investing in robots. China right now is trying to still appeal to women. But all these passport bros, I just want, China should be flyover country. Besides, they want, most of the time you're getting an indoctrinated communist who has who's greedier than Alexander Ocasio-Cortez. And here's where it starts, right? The greed, they teach their daughters, they bully their friends. It's all about the costume, right? It's all about their
emotional damage.
And most of these women, you just have to say to them, shut up. The worst thing fathers did in the 50s and 60s was buy their daughters lots of clothes, right? Buy them, mummy, the mothers say, buy her a new dress, it'll make her feel better. What happened? She became a drug addict to new dresses, didn't she?
And this is one of the key factors that strikes many single women. Not only urban white-collar workers, but also rural women are unwilling to marry and start families too early, largely because their standards are too high. After all, in these years of urbanization, many young rural girls have gone to cities to work after completing their education. They see a better and more comfortable life in the city than...
Yep, comfortable. Not a good life, a comfortable life. Again, it's because of their
emotional damage.
Right? They waste their youth. They waste their right? They waste their youth, right? China, this is why Chinese population is in decline. Most of the world's population is in decline, right? It's not because of MGTOW, right? MGTOW's not to blame. MGTOW is the response to these horrible people, right? This is all women care about. They do not care about you. And to, this is, you have to sit there, right? And I know it's hard, gentlemen, right? You have family members, everybody does, who you think, oh, not all women are like that. But you don't know them, do you? You don't know them because they have no interest in you, right? You are just a passerby in their life, right? You don't really know, right? You don't know where and how, right? It's best to just accept what you've got and move on, right? Just deal the minimum you have to do, right? To get by, right? I know some of you out there have good relationships with women, right? Particularly friendly relationships. Again, I'm not saying it's all women. It's the majority of women, okay? I don't mean all women. I mean the majority of women, right? Otherwise, there wouldn't be a high divorce rate, right? And who started this? It started with the boomers, right? Boomers are to blame, right? Boomers created a trend of the no-fault divorce, right? The divorce badge, right? The divorce badge of honor, particularly amongst women, right? Where they traded their husbands for young men, right? You see this all throughout popular culture. Movies were made about it. You know, the cheating wife with the tennis coach, or the biggest cliche of all was, during the 60s and 70s, women, right, doubled the number of divorces doubled, right, when no-fault divorce was brought in, right? What do? They talk about unhappy marriage the wrong person, right? All these copes, right? The major drivers were economic factors, right? Women, right, they were bored, right? And cost of living was soaring, so they cashed out their boomer marriage for parties and social life, right? Remember, social life and sex is currency to women, right? And as they get older, they complain, right, that they're no longer, like, they're not interested in them anymore. But the economic impact, right, particularly, right, split savings, split assets, right, meant now landlords were collecting 2 rents, not 1, right? Governments were collecting 2 taxes, not 1, right? So they didn't care, right? Lawyers were collecting a share of the split, so they didn't care, right? So the majority of society, right, women plus lawyers, plus simps, plus judges, right, plus politicians, against the working man, right? The rich man won every time, right? They always divide society up, look at the demographics, right? And every time pick the biggest group to exploit, right? But what they do is they divide that group up and then get all the nasties to gang up on you, right? All the women out there who are unhappy should have sided with men and realized that all they have to do, right? But logic does not dictate, right? Logic does not compute to these, particularly with boomers, right? Boomers, whether they're man or woman, all they care about is right? Particularly women over 60, all they care about is my comfort, right? My comfortable living. Right? Boomers fucked society in the ear, right? And not, but you look at it, right? The cost of living, the cost of divorce, why do they still encourage marriage? Well, $15,000 rings, right? Jewelry. First 3 letters. It's a dead giveaway, right? Right? But we still have not learnt our lesson, right? Because we ourselves are carrying
emotional damage.
But see, traditionally, we did not, right? The modern nuclear family was born, right, out of the need for the working man to have someone to take care of his house, right? You used to be able to trust a woman. You also used to trust a government that valued your property rights, your rights, right? I know it sounds harsh, but you should, right? If you're married to someone and they're nagging, right, and they won't shut up, right? Why? You tell me in the comments below. If someone is nagging you, what do? Right? You're in your own home. You cannot get peace. They will not leave you alone. Why is it so hard, right, for women to realize that you are in the wrong and you deserved every bit of scorn, right? You deserve to be thrown out. You deserved, right? You talk about violence against women. No, you abuse, right? Abuse started with the nagging wife, and society will not recognize that, right? But every violent incident, right, has to have an instigating, right, cause, right? Why is a criminal, right? Entitlement. There's the instigation, right? Entitlement, right? They believe they have the right to steal, right? So it's not poverty, right? Because most thieves are actually comfortable middle class, not low class, right? Low class people tend to join gangs and maybe collect some protection money, but these days mostly they join a gang and sell drugs, right? Most young people who are poor, they can't afford a lawyer. They stand out in rich neighborhoods, and besides, they got no connections to sell the stolen goods, right? But or they're smash and grabbers, right? They'll run into a department store, grab stuff and leave. But you know who your biggest fences and thieves are? Straight to women, right? Men will smash and grab jewelry stores, but yet you look around. What do women do? They steal, right? Boxes of they steal from their employers, put them in, put boxes of bikinis in their car or underwear, and they go home, and sell them, right, to the friends and family. They, the biggest thieves in the world are the one, people won't address the real issues anymore. But leftover women, right? Let's just play this last little bit.
Said, for us, marriage is a very expensive affair, especially in big cities like Shanghai. Economically speaking, the pressure is quite significant for young people, including myself. The event was organized by Julia Meng's company, Julia's Events. Julia Meng stated that an increasing number of people aged 35 and above are actually giving up on marriage. Young Chinese attendees like Jack Jiang expressed their desire to get married, but high housing prices, uncertain job prospects, and the overall economic situation are not conducive to marriage. This 32-year-old entrepreneur stated, "It's not that we want to be single, but rather it's the urban structure and economic conditions that have led to this outcome."
But it's feminism who created that economy. 2 jobs. More high-paying jobs for women. More education requirements to educate women. So you have all these women with degrees who cannot produce goods and services. So that's a waste of money. But they say it's social capital, it's an investment. But that investment but investments have to pay a return, otherwise they are useless. They are worse than useless. Right? This is the problem. Right? This is coming to America. Again, I warn you time and time again, right? That if you do not stand up for Western values, feminism is not Western values. Feminism is Eastern values. Feminism is Judaism. It's Middle Eastern collectivism, repackaged, rebranded to exploit the insecurities of women, right? And women blame men, right? As women get older, they blame you for not stopping them, right? That's coping and seething, right? As yesterday's video, right? Blaming mgtow for being single when it's their fault, right? It's their fault. The economy's ruined, right? 2 income, no kids, ruin the economy, right? Greed, right? Greedy boomers wanting to shut down schools to pay for more healthcare for them, right? No, let's send the boomers to Canada for Canadian healthcare, right? They keep talking about how great Canada's healthcare is. Yes, sign them up for MAID. If you don't know what MAID is, well, wait till you find out. They'll definitely agree that boomers gave us feminism, they gave us the cuck, they gave us the double income household, they gave us the soaring inflation, the soaring debt, and right now, right, please trust me when I say Trump has a plan, right? It is twofold. We have to shift investment, right, to increase, not increase productivity, but it's actually increasing profitability, right? Profitability is where your taxes are paid, right? all these people who hate profit, where's your taxes coming from? It ain't coming from school teachers. Right? More school teachers just means you need more taxes to pay them. You doofus. Right? More productivity to do what? To sell goods to whom? You can't sell more goods. You're already 31% over producing. Right? Which is why Lindsey Graham says, well, the Ukraine war is an opportunity. More weapons. That's not going to last. You're killing off the future clients. So your short-term boom followed by the long-term bust. Right? Did you learn anything from World War I, Lindsey Graham? Oh, you're not that old, sorry. World War... Sorry. Maybe you are. You learned nothing from multiple wars, right? Where the boom is followed by a longer bust. Every time. There is no... the boomers, right? The post-war boom didn't last that long, did it? Right? Really didn't last. By the 50s, the boom was gone, right? Government spending, what brought you debt? Now, US debt has never been zero since 1835. Now, I thought it was government debt was brought under control by the time Clinton. No, that was actually a mistake I made. The debt from the US space program was paid off under Clinton. So, yay! Right? There was more debt reduction, right? And this is what Trump wants to bring back. Debt reduction, right? So that debt repayments are below the, because debt is outgrowing inflation. So, yes. And why is it outgrowing inflation? Because of Congress, right? And Congress is just, and this is the problem, right? You can elect a president, but Congress will run away with the debt. You can fix Congress, but then the Senate will run away with the debt. You just cannot win until the people stand up and collectively say, what we're going to do is the higher the debt, the lower your wages, right? We're going to treat debt like a household, right? The more debt, right? GDP is, right? We pin debt, right, to X amount, right? And your wages, right? Everything, right? So if debt grows by 25%, your wages shrink by 25%. That'll soon fix everything. But it's a left and right thing, right? The left just want to spend more, so they don't care. And the right, unfortunately, far too many do not actually know what right-wing means in the first place. But I'm not here for politics. I'm just giving you an analysis, right? Because the right can spend as well. We know that, right? But we know, right? We know Bush, we know Reagan, we know them all. None of them, right, could reduce spending enough because inflation, right? Inflation got every time, right? Inflation got Bush, right? And he was probably the only one who really tried to reduce spending other than, right? Paul Ryan, he didn't even try to fight inflation and thus spending was out of control, right? States borrowed money and the bailing out the states, you know, Trump's first term having to bail out the states with COVID, right? That like, not to sound like a Debbie Downer, but sometimes, not even blue states, right, their spending problems have not always been a state issue. It's been, just, you know, like Katrina in Texas, you know, the Blue Water Horizon disaster. The biggest one, of course, has been lawsuits in California, right? But California's problems are mostly Californian corruption, right? And both parties can't deal with it, right? Because the unions are too powerful, right? Every problem comes down to there are too many groups with too much power, right? Feminists have too much power, unions have too much power, government workers have too much power, and the taxpayers who should have all the power don't, right? So until we fix this imbalance, definitely a lot of men are going their own way for many reasons, not just these feminist lolcows, right? Now, I just found probably the most exaggerated, but I'm just warning you, right? I've seen the rise in passport bros in the last few months, and I thought, nah, you should know what's awaiting you, right? Yeah. You should know what's awaiting you. So, thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Please support the channel. You can support me on Ko-Fi, Patreon, $1 a month over at my RPG Patreon. Come on, fellas. Cough it up. $1. Come on. Let's 5 of you could get together and buy me a coffee once a month. And buy my books, buy my merch. All my links are in the link tree description below, in my profile, or scan the QR code on the screen. Appreciate each and every one of you. And remember, don't ever, right, marry the first woman you get in the bed with. Please, if you're going to get married, get to know her, right? If you rush into anything, right, remember, they are always planning their exit, right? So, you know, I'm sorry. I'm sorry if you are, but, you know, I know a lot of the audience, right, going to go, oh, it's only a 50% divorce rate. No, once upon a time, it was an almost 0% divorce rate. In 50 years, the divorce rate has gone up almost 50 times. It went from the lowest in the world to one of the highest in the world. But now China's barking at your heels for everything, right? And the thing is, right, all these passport bros lining up aren't realizing that China is worse. So see you in the next video. Bye for now.